The repair estimate sat on the passenger seat like a death sentence. The number printed in bold black ink looked unreal, almost cruel. $200,000. That was what the dealership claimed it would cost to fix the vehicle that was the only thing standing between a struggling father and complete disaster. As the morning sun poured across the parking lot, Nolan Mercer stared at the paper with trembling hands, wondering how life had become this difficult. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, determination, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Love and Destiny for more heart-touching stories. Nolan was 38 years old and raising his 9-year-old daughter, Harper, alone. Every morning began before sunrise. He packed lunches, braided her hair as best as he could, dropped her off at school, and then drove across town delivering supplies for a small construction company. The vehicle wasn't just transportation. It was his livelihood. Every mile it traveled put food on the table and helped pay the rent for their tiny apartment. Life had already tested Nolan more than most people could imagine. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife, and since then he had been trying to be both father and mother to Harper. There were nights when he sat quietly at the kitchen table after she went to sleep, staring at unpaid bills while calculating impossible numbers. Somehow, he always found a way to make things work. Then came the breakdown. It happened on a bright Tuesday afternoon. The truck suddenly lost power while Nolan was returning from a delivery. Warning lights illuminated the dashboard like a Christmas tree. The engine made a strange noise before shutting down completely. Traffic rushed past while Nolan sat helplessly on the side of the road. The tow truck carried away more than a vehicle that day. It carried away Nolan's sense of security. When the dealership finally called, he expected bad news. Maybe a few $1,000s. Maybe even $10,000. But when the service advisor delivered the estimate, Nolan felt as though the air had been sucked from his lungs. According to their diagnosis, a major electrical system failure had damaged critical components. The repair would require extensive replacement work totaling nearly $200,000. The number was absurd. It exceeded everything Nolan owned. That evening, Harper noticed the worry on her father's face. She sat quietly at the dinner table eating macaroni while Nolan pretended everything was normal. Through the apartment window, daylight slowly faded into evening. Nolan forced a smile, but his daughter could always tell when something was wrong. After she went to bed, Nolan remained awake for hours. He reviewed the paperwork repeatedly. Something about it felt wrong. The diagnosis seemed complicated, but the symptoms described on the report didn't fully match what he had experienced. He wasn't a mechanic, but he had always enjoyed fixing things. Years ago, before life became so complicated, he spent weekends repairing lawn equipment and helping neighbors with small projects. That night, instead of giving up, he opened his old laptop. For days, Nolan spent every spare minute researching. During lunch breaks, after work, and late into the night, he watched repair videos and read technical forums. He learned about electrical systems, sensors, and common failures. The more he studied, the more doubts he had about the dealership's diagnosis. One small component kept appearing in discussions written by owners who had experienced similar problems. A tiny sensor no larger than a thumb. Cost $14. Many people reported that when the sensor failed, it triggered a cascade of error messages that made the vehicle appear catastrophically damaged. In reality, replacing the inexpensive part often solved everything. It sounded impossible. Yet the possibility refused to leave Nolan's mind. The following Saturday morning arrived bright and clear. Harper accompanied him to the parking area behind their apartment complex where the disabled truck sat waiting. The sky was blue, children played nearby, and a warm breeze drifted through the neighborhood. Nolan purchased the $14 part from a local supplier. His hands shook as he opened the hood. Hours passed. Sweat covered his forehead. Harper sat nearby reading a book but occasionally looked up to offer encouragement. Every bolt removed felt like a step into the unknown. Failure would mean losing everything. Finally, he located the sensor. The old component looked ordinary. Nothing about it suggested it could create such enormous problems. Yet after carefully replacing it, Nolan climbed into the driver's seat. For a moment, the world seemed silent. He turned the key. The engine started instantly. No warning lights. No alarming noises. Just the steady hum of a healthy engine. Nolan froze. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Then tears filled his eyes. Outside, Harper jumped to her feet as the truck came alive. Nolan stepped out, and before he could say anything, his daughter ran into his arms. They stood there together beneath the bright afternoon sky, holding onto each other while months of fear and uncertainty seemed to melt away. The $14 part had solved the problem. The dealership's $200,000 estimate had been completely unnecessary. Word of Nolan's experience spread among friends and co-workers. Many were shocked. Some mechanics later suggested the dealership may have relied too heavily on computer diagnostics without thoroughly investigating the root cause. Whatever the reason, Nolan had trusted his instincts and refused to surrender. More importantly, he had taught Harper a lesson she would never forget. She learned that knowledge matters. She learned that perseverance matters. And she learned that impossible situations sometimes have surprisingly simple solutions. Months later, life looked different. The truck continued running perfectly. Nolan regained financial stability, and the crisis that once threatened to destroy everything became a story of resilience. Whenever challenges appeared, Harper would remind her father about the $14 sensor. The memory became a symbol of hope. Not every problem can be fixed so easily. Not every struggle ends with a miracle. But sometimes, when the world tells us we're defeated, the answer is hidden in a place nobody thinks to look. Before we reach the end, I have a special request. Comment, never give up if you believe determination can overcome even the toughest obstacles. As the years passed, Nolan often reflected on that bright Saturday morning. He realized the most valuable thing he gained wasn't the repaired truck. It was confidence. Confidence that problems deserve investigation. Confidence that persistence can reveal opportunities hidden behind fear. And confidence that his daughter was learning these lessons by watching him refuse to quit. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to Love and Destiny. Your support helps bring more inspiring stories to people who need hope. Sometimes the difference between giving up and moving forward isn't $200,000. Sometimes it's a $14 part, a little courage, and the decision to keep trying one more time.